Hello, patriotic warriors. This morning YouTube put out a blog saying that they are supporting the 2020 election. Now, in YouTube speak, this means that Joe Biden is now the president-elect, and if anybody says otherwise, they're going to block or ban their channel outright. There is a little bit of a caveat. They're saying that Joe Biden is the president-elect and that the sunset has happened, and that anybody who says that Donald Trump won or that there was any election shenanigans that would overturn the election, they're just going to block and or outright ban the channel. Now, I've never said that. I've never said that. All I've said is that we have proof of election shenanigans. That's what we have. There are cases pending, not only in the Supreme Court, but in the appellate courts and state courts across the country, because the numbers aren't adding up. There were ballots that seemingly appeared out of thin air. Okay, so yeah, people are reporting on that, but this seems to be a problem for YouTube, because even though the sunset has happened, it doesn't mean the election is over. It doesn't mean that we don't have outstanding lawsuits. It doesn't mean that Texas's lawsuit isn't valid. It simply means that yesterday was when everybody had to have all of their legal cases cleared up so that they could certify. But that hasn't happened because we have all of these outstanding cases. So the sunset is meaningless. It's all meaningless. This is the way it works. On the 6th of January, they have to clear up these cases. They have to send their findings to Congress. Congress will appoint electors, and those electors will vote by district for the president. Usually what happens is that you have those electors are bound to the vote of the people. But what happens? What happens if you don't know who won? What happens if those certifications and those findings go to Congress and nobody knows who the president is? You have all of these outstanding lawsuits. Well, then the electors decide. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. That's how it's worked from day one. The only thing that was different during the founding was that you didn't have a popular vote for a president. That was brought in with the constitutional amendment. And you didn't have a popular vote for the Senate. That was brought in with an amendment to the Constitution. This is how things work. If you want to change something, you have to amend the Constitution. Or you have to have a vote in the Senate, in the Congress, all 50 states, and most of the time that would actually be a vote of the people if it goes to the state level, because you have to put those votes to the people. There's no way you're getting rid of the Constitution of the United States. So those are the laws that you have to follow. Those are the boundaries in which you can work in. You might not like the Constitution, but it seems that the First Amendment is really important to Antifa and Black Lives Matter when it counts, isn't it? It seems that the Fourth Amendment is really important to people when they need to fall back on the Fourth Amendment. They might try to violate your rights, but when they need those amendments, they're going to come right back to him and go, no, no, you have a right to peaceably assemble. You have a right to peaceably assemble, which is why all of these governors, all of these mayors around the country are allowing Black Lives Matter to go out, burn shit down. No, 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 you have a right to assemble. But when it comes to Trump supporters, when it comes to anti-lockdown challenges, they're telling people to sit down and shut up. And we're standing up and saying if your First Amendment rights apply, then our First Amendment rights apply. If your Fourth Amendment rights apply, then our Fourth Amendment rights do apply. That's how it works. The law has to be applied to everyone equally. That's what you call equality. They want to change it to equity, but that's what you call equality. That's what you call civil rights. So in 2020, anybody who says that Donald Trump might actually overturn this, I don't think it's possible. I think these lawsuits are going to go on way after Joe Biden comes into the White House on January 20th. I may be wrong, and YouTube may be wrong. So what do, YouTube, if that actually happens? If those lawsuits succeed, if the Supreme Court, because we have 4 more states now, are suing Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Georgia. Some of those lawsuits are applying to Arizona and Nevada as well. What do you do if the Supreme Court finds that there is a constitutional crisis and this election was illegitimate because of that? We still have to go through the legal process. We still have cases that are pending. But YouTube says, if anybody says otherwise, we will ban you. We will take your channel down. I'm not saying that. I want to see what happens. I'm not saying that Donald Trump won. I don't know. Just the fact that I don't know should prompt YouTube to say, we don't know either. Let's see the evidence. But they're not doing it. They're not doing it. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and read what YouTube has to say. Over the past weeks and months, we've seen people coming to YouTube to learn more about where and how to vote and learning more about candidate or an issue. We've seen news organizations grow their audience, and we've seen people turn on YouTube for the latest election results or simply to follow an historic event, which is the highest voting turnout in over a century in the U.S. Our main goal is going into the election season was make sure we're connecting people with authoritative information while also limiting the reach of misinformation and removing harmful content. The work there is ongoing, and we wanted to provide an update. Our community guidelines prohibit spam, scam, or other manipulated media, coordinated influence operations, and any content that seeks to incite violence. Since September, we've terminated over 8,000 channels and thousands of harmful and misleading elections-related videos for violating our existing policies. Over 70% of those removed videos were taken down before they had 100 views. What YouTube is saying is that if you don't say what they want you to say, if you don't toe the line and just suck up the fact that Joe Biden won. If Joe Biden won legitimately, I'm happy for him. But if he didn't win legitimately, don't you think people would want to know? Don't you think that people have a right to know? Don't you think that people have a right to understand what is going on in this election? And if you don't toe the line, if you don't say what YouTube wants you to say, they've changed their community guidelines to make sure that if you don't say what they want you to say, you're gone. No. Nope. Nope. I don't know who won. I don't know who won, but I would like to know. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you if it was Donald Trump doing this? I mean, we heard for 3 years how he colluded with Russia. YouTube left all that crap up, and we find out none of it was true. None of it was true. So don't you think we have a right to know what's going on in this election? I think so. And so should YouTube. But that's not the whole point. The whole point is they hate Donald Trump. They want Donald Trump gone. And they're going to try to make it happen. And that, man, that makes YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and other platforms that do communicate with each other. We found that out in these Senate hearings. These platforms, they communicate with each other. They know what's going on, but they don't want you to know what's going on. And that is sick. That's all I have for this segment. I'm trying to get one more segment in today. And we got a lot of work to do, America. We got a lot of work to do. I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I'm a pretty good worker, woodworker. I'm a pretty good metal worker and everything. And I've got to do some renovations on my studio. I bought a bunch of soundproofing panels and stuff like that so you won't hear the echo. And I'm going to grab my GoPro and we're going to go build a soundproof room. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So I'm going to take you on that journey. A few more things. I'm going to take you on the journey with setting up the charity and everything in Tracy's name. And there's some questions. The autopsy will be done probably next week, and we've got some questions about exactly how she died, because the rumor is that somebody gave her a highball. And if you don't know what a highball is, it's cocaine mixed with heroin, and she was deathly allergic to heroin, and she had a bad heart. So if they were giving her cocaine, it would have killed her. So yeah, there's some questions surrounding her death. We got to wait for the autopsy to come back. But I want to take you on that journey with me because I know it's important to me. It might not be important to you, but I want to bring you guys along with me. I mean, I don't want to hide anything or be dishonest, or I want to be completely truthful with everything. And of course, it's just a rumor, but so where we're going to get the autopsy back, we're going to get the talk screen back and see exactly what drugs she had in her system. But you guys have a good day, and stick around for the next segment. I'll probably have a next segment up here in about 15 or 20 minutes. I'm going to try to get in 3 a day, because these stories are important. These stories are important because your favorite content creators, they're going to keep manipulating these terms of service, these community guidelines, until they get everybody off of the channel that they want off of the channel. They don't like the messaging that's coming out of these conservative channels, and they're going to try to get rid of every one of us. But like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you like these videos, share them with your friends. I need more eyes on. I need at least 1,000 followers to start doing super chats, and we'll see you in a few minutes.